Last season, we saw some incredible stories in club football, as we saw the likes of Stuttgart, Girona, and Bologna all qualify to the Champions League. Bologna qualified to the Champions League for the first time since 1964 with their brilliant style of play under Thiago Motta. Girona had their best season ever in the club's history, first time they ever qualified to Europe, and the first time they ever qualified to the Champions League. And Stuttgart had their best season since winning the Bundesliga in 2007. Sebastian Hoeneß had his side playing some of the best football in all of Europe. But all three of these incredible seasons could be slowly forgotten with the way the transfer market is playing out, as all three clubs are missing key players. And yes, we have seen this in the past with the likes of Ajax losing De Ligt and De Jong, but it is kind of sad how Girona, Stuttgart, and Bologna, after having an incredible season, are just getting decimated by the crazy transfer window we see nowadays. Girona are losing Savinho, Cuito, Eric Garcia, and Pablo Torre, who were all on loan at the club last season. They lost one of their key players in the midfield and in the entire squad, and he was in the team of the season last season, Alex Garcia, as he transferred to Bayer Leverkusen for 18 million euros. They have signed the likes of Abel Ruiz, Dani van de Beek, and Ladislav Krejci, but now there's rumors that Artem Dovbyk, the top goal scorer of La Liga last season, is making a move to Atletico Madrid. If they lose Artem Dovbyk and Alex Garcia alongside Savinho, Cuito, Pablo Torre, and Eric Garcia, what is left of Girona? Yes, Abel Ruiz had a good season with Braga, but there's no way they can compete in the Champions League. It would have been wonderful to see. Yes, Girona, maybe they lose Cuito or Savinho, but don't lose Dovbyk and Alex Garcia. Well, how can they compete in the Champions League against the best of the best after the wonderful football they played last season? Remember, Girona are the kings of Catalan right now. They did the double over Barcelona. While Bologna are losing Joshua Zirkzee, Salamakers, and most likely Calafiori, who will be making the move to Arsenal. And there's now been rumors that their other centre-back, Lukumi, might be making a move to AS Roma. But the biggest loss they will have is no doubt Thiago Motta. The dude completely changed the fortunes for this club as he now made the move to Juventus. I mean, if Juventus is calling, you're not going to turn it down. That's like Jennifer Aniston asking you for a one-night stand. Are you going to turn it down? No, you're not. So Thiago Motta had to make that move, and it is sad. They did hire a very good manager in Vincenzo Italiano Bologna, but going into their first Champions League season since 1965, they have made a couple moves, Bologna. They've signed Tias Dalinga from Toulouse, who was a very good centre forward, Nicolo Cambiaghi from Atalanta. Bologna have made some good signings, but let's be honest here. This side, when they get to the Champions League, it is a wonderful story. I have nothing against Bologna, what they did last season, some of the football they played. I remember when they were 3-0 up against Juventus, and I was just in awe of how they were playing, or away against AS Roma. But now it's all going to be forgotten. We're not going to see the same Thiago Motta ball-playing side where Calafiore is driving down the middle, or Joshua Zirkzee linking up play, or Salamakers, who, out of rate as a player, looked actually pretty good last season. And lastly, Stuttgart. Of course, they are losing Hiroki Ito, who made the move to Bayern Munich, Valdemar Anton, who made the move to Borussia Dortmund, Seru Girassi, who also made the move to Borussia Dortmund. Then we're going to see if Dennis Undorf is going to be signed to a permanent deal. They have made a couple transfers, Demirovic from Augsburg, Lehrling from Union Berlin, Jeff Chabot from FC Köln, Anthony Royal from Toulouse. But if you're going to miss the likes of Hiroki Ito, Anton, and Seru Girassi, and we saw what Seru Girassi did last season in the Bundesliga, the guy, every time he got in front of goal, it was a golazo. But the one thing Stuttgart did keep is their manager, Sebastian Hoeneß. And we have seen with Sebastian Hoeneß, he changed this team from a relegation battling side to qualify for the Champions League. I mean, Sebastian Hoeneß is a great manager. It is fantastic that he signed a contract extension with Stuttgart, so hopefully they can build upon it. But when you're missing these key players, and what if they lose the likes of Mittostad or Chris Furyk, then Stuttgart, I mean, they're really going to be in trouble. So overall, this whole transfer window is just sad to me. I want to see these sides, Girona, Stuttgart, and Bologna, really cement themselves in their own leagues. But of course, if the big boys are calling, like a Bayern Munich, a Dortmund, a Man City, a Juventus, you cannot deny it. Manchester United with Joshua Zirkzee, how can these clubs deny the opportunity for the players? Of course, nobody has the aspirations and dreams of playing for Girona. Come on, let's be honest. How many of you grew up and dreamed to yourself, let's play for Girona? No, you didn't. Or Bologna. Stuttgart are a big side in the Bundesliga. They have won a Bundesliga this century, so that I can understand. But Bologna and Girona, there's no aspirations to play for those clubs. But it would have been nice to just see for one season in the Champions League. If you lose one key player, I can understand. If you lose Savinho, if you lose Zirkzee, or if you lose Girassi, Okay, that's cool. You cannot lose every key player within your side, and that is sadly what is happening to each of these teams. And this is just the reality of modern day football, where if a team has a somewhat good season, like we have seen in the past with Ajax, Leicester, they obviously lost Mahrez and Kante and all these players. I mean, we're not even going to remember Danny Drinkwater because we're only going to remember his last name, but not what he did on the football field. When a side has a decent season, they're going to get decimated in the transfer window. Their manager might go. And we're seeing it again with these three clubs. Everybody's going to clown them next season in the Champions League. I already know it because they're not going to be at that same level that they were the previous season. And everybody will be like, oh, look, how did these teams qualify to the Champions League? Why didn't Man United qualify? Why didn't Villarreal or Valencia qualify? These teams earned it. But now, we're not going to see those same sides. And that's the saddest part to me. I would have loved to have seen how Xerxes would have done in the Champions League or how Girassi would have done in the Champions League. Obviously, they're still going to be in the Champions League. Well, not Xerxes, but Girassi will be in the Champions League. I would have loved to have seen, could they really compete? Could they do the same thing like Malaga did about a decade ago and make it to the quarterfinal and seconds away and maybe some correct officiating away from making it to a semifinal? Would have been awesome. Or Ajax in 2019. Look, like this kit. This is history, by the way. This is history. You cannot deny Ajax. This is just the sad reality of modern day football. And it won't change. It simply will not change. The big boys will keep getting stronger. They're going to keep taking the steroids. While the little guys are going to try and do the natural way. Eating the chicken, eating the broccoli, and not having any sugar or any soda or anything. But they're just going to keep falling behind and behind and behind. While the dude with the steroids, they're just going to keep getting stronger. This is modern day football. Is it going to change? No, it won't. And I would have loved to have seen what I think Stuttgart could still do well. I'm really worried about Girona. And I'm getting worried about Bologna. Because if Bologna lose both Calafiori and Lucumi alongside Thiago Motta, I mean, Vincenzo Italiano is a good manager. But I don't think he's Thiago Motta. We've seen with Italiano, he has his side playing good football. They're just not clinical enough. So they need to, hopefully Delinga can be that guy who can be clinical for Bologna. Maybe I'm living in Disneyland, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and trying to believe that there's some hope of the beautiful game and that clubs can at least have an opportunity to showcase their beautiful football. Imagine if Girona kept their squad, some of their squad at least, or Bologna kept some of their squad, or Stuttgart. Do you think they could make it to the knockout stage of the Champions League? I think so. I think Girona could have. I think Stuttgart could have. We're not living in Nickelodeon. We're not living in Disneyland. This is the transfer window. And this is modern day football. When you got the money, you can spend it. And when a club doesn't have money and it's really just a stepping stone for the players and the managers, hopefully I am wrong. And that Girona, Bologna, and Stuttgart can all have a great season in the Champions League. I'm not even thinking about domestically. I'm just thinking about the Champions League. Because that's where all the neutrals who only watch the Premier League or only watch Serie A or only watch Bundesliga, they get to see the other teams in Europe. But we're not going to see those same teams that we saw from last season. And that's the sad reality. But let me know your thoughts, people. Have you ever seen three clubs who haven't qualified to the Champions League ever or for a long time been this decimated by the transfer window? I'm honestly trying to think. I haven't seen this before. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Remember to follow me on all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of those links are in the description down below. So is the Discord. If you want to support the channel, my Patreon is in the description down below. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. And good luck to all three clubs for the upcoming season. Adios.